Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
So, to you, what do you think the true meaning of Christmas is? Just out of curiosity. I mean, when you think of Christmas, what's coming to mind?
I think it's about gifts. It's about recognizing others. It's about, ultimately for actual Christmas, there's the story of Jesus' birth, right? Of a savior actually being born in the earth. And that's the ultimate gift, right? Of redemption. And so I think there's a lot of positivity associated with it. But there's a focus on giving to others and recognizing others' meaning in your life and things like that.
Okay. Do you think that your belief is on par with most people, or do you think your belief is kind of unique?
I think the belief is probably on par. I don't know if the practice for me or others is necessarily up to that kind of par, but yeah, I think the belief is there that's okay. That's what it's about.
Well, I ask because I sometimes wonder: do we get lost in the materialism of Christmas, and we forget that there's a stronger, deeper meaning behind all of it?
Well, I mean, I think in general, right, there's a huge expectation of people that I'm going to get up on that morning, right? If I'm celebrating Christmas, I'm getting up that morning and I'm going to get stuff. Mm-hmm. As a kid, right, it was, I can't wait to get stuff tomorrow.
Oh, amen.
Right? I'm going to get up and get stuff. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to get that stocking down. I'm going to see what's in there, right? Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's not going to be socks and underwear.
Oh,
and batteries, although batteries are great. But, there is an expectation of I'm excited. I'm going to get things, and yeah. So I mean, I think that's part of the marketing.
Okay, yeah.
Of the holiday,
yeah.
And so I don't know that we'll be able to completely get away from that. I think that we can get to it later in this episode, but I think that there's some things about my family that we've tried to instill and do that I think counter some of that, but. Yeah, I think in general, people want things. I want stuff.
Yeah. But okay, for a little kid, for your grandson, I
sure.
get it. At what point should you begin to expect that to disappear or dissipate some?
Right.
Is it by the time they become a teenager? Is it by the time that they are, into their early 20s? I mean, because it feels like that Christmas has become so materialistic that we forget that it's actually a great opportunity for us to take a moment, to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with what really matters in our life.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do that as early as possible. I remember, so here's a story for me.
Okay.
I remember being a kid, and we had a department store in our downtown, the small town where I grew up. And when I say department store, I mean, like, if you've ever seen that British show with the department store and they go to different levels.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Really?
It was really, it was an old time department store owned by a family just up the road. And so it was just a great place, right? And as a kid, I could walk there from my house and I would go through the store. And I remember I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And I thought I wanted to buy a gift for my family. Mm-hmm. And for Christmas, right? Like, I'm always getting stuff. I want to be a part of it in the giving side. And so I remember buying a set of glasses, and I can vividly remember it was a set of like 8 glasses. They were breakfast, they had oranges on them, two oranges. It was for orange juice. I love orange juice, but I wanted to have, and we had a fairly good sized family, right? So I wanted to have that set of glasses for my family, and I gave the glasses to the family. Mm-hmm. And it was probably all cute and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I had contributed and didn't just receive at that point. And I think that anytime you can get certainly a young child to do that, to say it's not, you're going to get things, right? But it's not just about receiving. It's about giving something. And so they, I earned my own money, and I went and bought that. And at the time, I mean, it was probably 10 or $15 or whatever, but like in the 80s,
that's
in the
a lot
early
of money.
80s, that was a lot of money. So, whatever, but it was mine, right? And I gave it, and I felt good about that. But then, our kids, and this is what I was talking about before, did this. We did the same thing with them. Like, what do you want to buy your brother? What do you want to buy your sister? And so they would actually go to, and we would take them to dollar stores, and they would just go through and like pick something that they thought that their sibling would really like. And it's funny because some of this is in the movies that I recently converted, and they were like, "Oh, I got that at that store. I remember doing that. It was so much fun, right?" Like it adds to that story. And to this day, and they're now in their 30s, right? My youngest being 25, but it's something that they like to do. Christmas for them is more about getting something for each other than it is about them receiving what they're going to get. And so I think you can do that as early as you can think of.
Okay.
Right? I mean, dollar stores are cheap.
They are.
I know that they're now like $2 or $5 stores, really, but it's still pretty cheap, right? To get some kind of a gift that you could give. And I think that instilling that idea early that it's not just about receiving.
It's
about the giving. And if a child can feel that good, like I did about that giving, I think that can be a real shift in how they view life.
That I like that. I think, that was something that my parents did with, I think, my siblings and I, and they always pushed the meaning behind.
Right.
And I never really appreciated that until I got older. And I like, so I got thinking, well, are there ways that we can use this opportunity to kind of explore, more of the emotional side to Christmas rather than the materialistic side. And part of it came down to the idea, can we find ways to rediscover peace amid all the chaos that is Christmas?
Yeah.
And part of it just comes down to, I think we've talked about this before, but the opportunity to take pause, breathe, and enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Because it can help us realign with what do we want? What do we want out of this Christmas season?
Yeah.
And I mean, if we want a lot of stress and anxiety, well, we know how to do that pretty good because we do that most of the year anyway. But if we want to truly try and recenter ourselves to get away from that, well, figure out what do you want to really gain from Christmas, especially as adults. And I think if we can do that as adults, can we can we teach our children?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, it's so anyway, so I kind of did a little exploration into this and kind of look at, okay, what do we, the idea that Christmas can transcend your current circumstance. I can remember going through my divorce and that first Christmas, and I wasn't allowed to see Eric. And I'm living on my own in my apartment, and I'm going, this just sucks. This isn't what Christmas is supposed to be. I couldn't put up Christmas decorations because I just didn't feel Christmas joy.
Right.
But I did have some help. My sister, she gave me a tree. She got me Christmas ornaments. And she said, we're going to make a Christmas for you.
Okay.
And it was kind of like that whole thing of, well, in the midst of all the crap that I was going through, you can find joy. Yeah. And I was so grateful for her visit that, I kind of understood that even in the depths of despair, there's hope. And that this can be a reawakening, a rebirth, whatever you want to call it. But the idea that you don't have to succumb to where you're at.
Right.
And so, I mean, Christmas is a time where you can reflect back, but plan for the future and know that new beginnings don't have to, what do they say? The mighty oak grows from a little acorn.
Yeah.
And so if we can develop a little bit of hope, can we create some possibilities to help overcome that despair? And
yeah,
I mean, I know that a lot of times there's a lot of church involved, as far like in the Catholic faith, we have the Advent wreath.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up, we would do Advent wreath all the time.
Yep.
But it was an opportunity. I at the time I looked at it and I'm going, oh my gosh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. All this freaking church stuff. But I look back now with a lot of fondness going, that was, church stuff. And I put that in air quotes. But at the end of the day, what was it? Family building.
Yeah.
It was developing that family bond that as our family went through all the struggles that we did in adulthood, we had the strength of that family bond to help carry us all through that, here we are, all adults, grandparents in some cases, and we're still having a good, positive relationship with each other. So,
right.
I mean, we can use it as an opportunity to, like I say, begin focusing on what's kind of important to us and move away from the materialistic kind of thing.
And I think that's part of it is, that the circumstance doesn't matter, right? I mean, if you think back to the Christian story of Jesus, their circumstances were terrible. Pregnant, no place for the inn. There's, they're
no money.
Hanging out, no money. They're hanging out in a barn, essentially, with and their new babies laying in a bunch of really dirty hay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just kind of a very seemingly depressing situation, right? And then there's gifts, right? And there's miracles that happen, and there can still be really good things among our circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the happiest people I know are people that pray or meditate or just breathe, right? Just pause and reflect. And so, you can transcend those circumstances, I think, but it has to be intentional, right? We can't, I mean, in recent months, I've read so many books and, just come down to, you can't let your circumstances rule your life or your emotions or any of those things, right? You have to actually have some control over that.
But that is kind of hard because depression, anxiety, I call it quicksand because it can suck you in and it doesn't want to let you go. And so we get caught in this belief, well, everybody's happy around me but me. Well, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
And so we can fall easy victim to, the grief that encompasses our life. We,
Sure.
From wherever it can come from. I mean, grief can be caused by so many things, but we can feel loneliness, even surrounded by people. We feel alone. We can have burnout, in our jobs, with our family. And so we can feel real empty. And I feel like Christmas, you're so many people fake it, but if you can start by acknowledging, to go what you're saying, to pull yourself out, at the end of the day, you're the only one that can pull you out of that quicksand.
Well, and I think that not necessarily, right? Like I think that there are I could be the person that helps pull somebody out.
Well, okay,
right.
Yes.
And so I think that I don't want to sit here and say, listen, if you're depressed, get yourself out of it, because that doesn't really work.
Okay.
Right. That's not a thing, and you need somebody else to help you. But if you're depressed, you can say to somebody else, "Hey, I'm depressed."
Well, and that's
can I talk to you? Can I help you? Can you? And then the other person can be that person that says, wow, I know that circumstances are tough, but they can speak some kind of positivity into that life and say it's not as bad as it seems, and let's talk about that, and let's get you some help, right, somewhere else. But I think for the most part, like if we're talking about in general, we create a lot of this stuff for ourselves, and I'm not speaking to the depths of depression and those anxieties necessarily. Like there's severity levels.
True.
I think you're the professional here, but I think there's severity levels, and I think that I can be in a place where I just got myself down because of circumstances, and I've said it in other episodes. Life goes on, and I'm still here, and I've still got a job, and I've still it may not be the same thing that I've always done, but I'm still living, and I bet there's people around that care.
And that's kind of where I was going with.
Yeah.
By saying we can pull ourselves out, not all by ourselves,
right,
but by doing the first thing, which is probably the hardest thing, and that is saying, I need help.
Yeah.
And if you can acknowledge that you need help to pull yourself out of that quicksand, that now, yes. And that's why I was saying, I wasn't saying that you can by your own lonesome get yourselves out of whatever
Absolutely,
depth
right.
and despair, but you
right.
have to want. And I mean, all the clients that I see, well, except for the kids, because they didn't come on their own, but the adults that I see, a lot of times they're there because they go, you know what, I don't like where I'm at, and
right.
I want help getting to a better place. And I think that Christmas time, we feel so much more of these negatives than really at the other times of the year, or at least they appear to rise to the surface, because again, everybody, you're supposed to be happy and joyful and,
right.
Filled with all kinds of oohs, and then you're going, ugh. Because now I will tell you this, that joyfulness can coexist with sorrow.
Yeah.
Because true joy, though, isn't forced. You can't force yourself to be happy, which is why I think Christmas time is why we suffer from so much depression.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and the fact that it's really dark outside a lot. But, and that's where I think the true miracle of Christmas begins by looking at inside.
Right.
Looking for that aid and assistance. And, if you want to pull to spirituality, I mean, I know we're not a religious podcast, but the idea that, that's where religion can help. It can help provide some guidance. It can provide
right.
some meaning to our suffering.
Yeah.
And so now we can use this opportunity to explore and dig and kind of figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So, and I think you brought something up, and I'm going to piggyback on that when you're feeling down in the dumps, some of the best ways to get out of the dumps is to help somebody else.
Oh, absolutely. Right. It's just like, if you want to learn something, teach it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Don't learn it to know it. Learn it to teach it, and then teach it to somebody else, and you will know it better than you could ever imagine. And so I think the same thing, right? Like, you've had circumstances, other people are having circumstances. If you help somebody out of their circumstance or help them get to some joy, you will also have that joy, right? Mm-hmm. If you can show them how to have the joy, boy, will you have it. They will have it. They'll show somebody else. I mean, just the multiplication of that, I think, is what's great about it. And I think that's a sense that you get sometimes through the season when people just act nice to each other. Mm-hmm. And, goodness sakes, in this country, we could use some people acting nice to each other, rather than being divided. And so, and that's from all sides, right? Like, we need to remember that we're all people. We're all in the same circumstance to some level. And everybody's experiencing things, and you're not seeing it. Mm-hmm. And we need to back off, I think, from the judgment and reach out a helping hand.
It's also Christmas is a good time to remember the past.
Yeah.
To reflect on both our recent past and our distant past and allow for reconnections.
Yeah.
And remember that life, and we've talked about this so many times, and I don't think it can be overstated enough, but life is a journey to be done with others.
Yeah.
We are not built to be in isolation. And so through our connections with family, with friends, we can help make through the Christmas blues.
Yeah.
And by showing a little bit of vulnerability, well, now you can build community.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back to my days of the divorce group. We were individually a group of folks that were broken,
Right.
and feeling destroyed and lots of depression and despair. But together we were able to lift each other
Right.
through the downsides. And I can remember some of my favorite Christmases were with the divorce group people.
Right.
And it was yes. And so that's why I'm saying I felt some of the most joyful times being with them and celebrating. And I truly began to believe in the miracle of Christmas through, again, being together, how do you want to call it? That combined sorrow
Sure.
made it actually joyful.
Sure.
So I don't know. Again, it's Christmas time can be a time of blue, but it can also be a time to allow us to explore, why are we blue?
Yeah.
And do we want to stay blue, or do we want to, or sad or depressed, or, do we want to try and get a little bit better? And sometimes finding spiritual help can help give meaning
Absolutely.
to what's going on and help us overcome it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I just think that pausing and reflecting is so great. We don't do enough of that in our daily life, even outside of a Christmas season, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, just being able to reflect. I've talked about before journaling. I mean, that's a great thing to do, mm-hmm. and can help you work through a lot of those things. And I still need to do it. I keep suggesting it. It's probably about time I do it, but being able to reflect and think and just get ourselves out of those circumstances and situations, and realize who we are and what we are and how we really want to live. I mean, I think it centers everybody to be able to do that.
Well, and yeah, like I say, Christmas time, the end of the year, is an opportunity for rebirth to kind of help us. And I mean, it's you can create some new goals. Again, look backwards, but work with intention, creating activities with families that might become new family traditions.
Absolutely.
I mean, and they don't have to necessarily be religious in its nature, but soulful, reflectful, personal.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up, we did this. We would do these family journaling kind of things, and they would have a statement or a question, and then your answer had to include, how does my answer make me feel?
Right.
And we would do this as a family, and then we would get together and we would read to each other, the answers. And sure. It would, anywhere from half a page to a full page of notebook paper for our answer. Okay. And then we would read our answer and then share. So it was a little bit of journaling, but it was also an opportunity for us. Again, I hated it at the time, but I look back now on the benefits that had. It made it easier for my folks, to understand us kids.
Yeah.
And it gave us an opportunity, I think, for us kids to kind of understand our parents, their, different points of view. And it wasn't religious necessarily in nature, as I recall, but it was a way to communicate.
Yeah.
And we did it all year round, but it was, kind of a family tradition that we did. It was a ritual, and it helped strengthen the family unit.
Yeah.
So that way, again, I don't know. I just want you mentioned.
No, I
journaling.
think it's great. Like journaling is good. I mentioned before that if you want to know something, learn it to teach it. And I think journaling does that, right? Like I think if you write down your stuff, then you are recording yourself, and then you get to read it and discover yourself and teach yourself about who you are. Mm-hmm. And so you get to know yourself better than ever before. And I think that's where you get to make adjustments. I mean, most of a graduate program that I've gone through is about studying something and then reflecting. And the reflection isn't about like, is it a good process? The reflection is about, how do I implement this process? What does this look like for me to do? And so the reflection is always back on you and what do you change and how do you become more like what you want to be like? Mm-hmm. And so that's what journaling does, I think. And I think that the earlier a child can learn that process, boy, the better that would be, right? To be able to understand themselves and build that resiliency in them. And, I think that would help with a lot of fighting future anxiety or depression or things like that as well. Mm-hmm. So those are skills, right? So you can get a lot of coping skills out of that. And I think that, Christmas time the holidays are a great time to do that because you do have that, and you do have to be intentional about, I don't want all those externalities to start influencing my circumstances.
Well,
right?
I mean, the reason of the season is kindness and generosity. And it's a great opportunity to start a year-round practice because kindness doesn't need a holiday or a time of the year, but it's a time. Right. This is that time of year where we tend to feel more kind and more generous.
Yep.
So check on those elderly neighbors and how, like I say, these are things that you can do, intentionality, because, when we start showing this kindness, this generosity, it multiplies.
One of the things I love about the North Texas area is all the lights, right? Like I've lived in different parts of the country, and Christmas lights are a big thing, but boy, are they a big thing here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are businesses here that's what they do is put up lights. And and I'm not just saying like, oh, there's one guy or there's two guys. I mean, there are businesses advertising, and I mean 10s or 20s and 30 businesses that I've seen.
Oh, big time.
This is what they do is they put up lights, and everybody's got these lights, and I almost think it's like an HOA requirement or something to put up particular lights. I mean, there's whole neighborhoods, and you can drive around and look at these lights and these displays that are ridiculous. But you know what? When you go look at them, oftentimes like there's people just walking the streets, and there's houses that are just handing out hot chocolate, or candy, and everybody's enjoying everybody outside in the cold sometimes, right? It doesn't get that cold here, but it's chill, and they're just enjoying and talking, and I love it. And it's not even people from those neighborhoods sometimes, right?
Not always.
People are like, oh, have you been to that neighborhood? And they go over there, and everybody's really nice. And I love that about here.
Well, I totally agree, because that goes to the last thing I want to talk about, and that is the true heart of Christmas isn't found in the lights, though. It's not found in the gifts. It's not found in our family traditions. It's found in the peace that gives us. It's an opportunity, the renewal of because if you celebrate Christmas a lot of times, well, there is always that religious component to it. And our faith gives us that opportunity to feel a little rejuvenated in a time where it's easy to get weary and anchored to all the negatives. Yeah. So anyway,
I hope that this helps some people think about how they can be less harried and not let their circumstances rule them in the holidays. So,
because again, faith and reflection can give us a true meaning of what Christmas is all about. So,
all right. Well, I think our studio time is up today.
It is. So until next time, my friend, I'm Ron.
I'm Scott.
See ya.
Bye-bye.